Hello and welcome to the Oakland County Megacast. I am Tyler Keefe in the studios of 89.3 Lakes FM and Civic Center TV. Ronnie Dahl joins us as she has all week long from her home studio.
Tyler, I have something that I think you're going to be extremely excited for.
Oh, boy, what's this?
So, I've been talking because usually every year it's been a tradition for me to go downtown and do the turkey trot.
Yes.
It's not happening this year. They're doing it virtual. However, I was in my basement yesterday and guess what I found?
Oh,
Something just for you.
Oh, boy.
Tyler, I have an extra turkey outfit for you.
Second turkey. How about that?
I actually found three.
Oh.
Which don't ask me why I have three. But Tyler, I think that you should get in the spirit of Thanksgiving and put on the turkey outfit and go running through your neighborhood.
That sounds like a nice way to get the Wixom Police Department to finally meet me after all this time.
No, it'd be a great way to join your neighbors together and everyone have fun.
Sure. Everyone has fun.
I'll be happy to drop it off for you.
That'd be great.
So Sylvan Lake actually is doing a virtual turkey run. So if people see me tomorrow morning, I am going to be running through Kegel and through Sylvan Lake, doing my 3.1 so that I earn the medal correctly. So happy Thanksgiving Eve for everyone. Tyler, typically this is one of the largest bar nights of the year. But that's not happening this year.
No,
have you ever gone out on Thanksgiving Eve?
No, and I haven't. Only because it is such a frankly dangerous bar night, and there is so much traffic and there's so much craziness going on that I just simply don't trust other people not to be dumb about it.
Yeah, it's kind of like I feel like Thanksgiving Eve is somewhat almost like a New Year's Eve, right?
Yeah.
Where everyone is out, and so you don't want to be out with the stupid people that are drinking and driving. But that's going to be a different Thanksgiving Eve this year because all the bars and the restaurants are closed here in the state of Michigan for anything other than carry out or outside dining. And there are some restaurants that were able to get in early on the outdoor dining, and they got the tents and the heaters. But for this latest round of shutdowns until December 8th, a lot of them haven't been able to snag the equipment in order to set up outside dining. So I think it's going to be a huge change in this year's Thanksgiving Eve.
Yeah, it's going to be different. A lot of people aren't going to be able to go out and have their pre-Thanksgiving fun. A lot of people, maybe in some families, will go out and have just an adults' night and leave some of the older kids with the younger kids at home, and then the adults go out and have a nice getting caught up time with each other at the bars or something like that. Or like you mentioned before, a lot of college people are coming back from school for the holidays and are catching up with some of their old friends. And unfortunately, in the year that we're in, with what's going on and with COVID-19, that's not going to be the case this year. And also unfortunate for all those people that do work at those bars, that work on tips, that are usually getting tipped very well the night before Thanksgiving. Is one of the better nights of the year, that they're not going to be able to have that money coming into them this year because of the situation that we've put ourselves in.
Yeah, and if we can kind of go into the headlines, and I didn't have this as the first headline, but it's kind of a segue, as we've been talking with restaurant owners, but also with individuals from the Michigan Association of the Michigan Restaurant and Lodging Association. As we know, they filed that lawsuit in federal court a week or so ago. Well, there's some new information coming out of the federal court regarding that, because you can follow along, by the way. Anyone who wants to follow the proceedings, you can actually follow the court documents. They are public. You go on to Pacer, which is a federal court system, and you can go on, but they do charge you. You have to set up an account. And so now the state is saying, Tyler, that indoor dining is among the highest risk activities for COVID-19 spread. So reopening restaurants for in-person dining would likely increase the spread of COVID-19 in Michigan. That's according to the state in response to the lawsuit that seeks to invalidate the dine-in ban. The Michigan Restaurant and Lodging Association and para-restaurant businesses sued Michigan Department of Health and Human Services Director Robert Gordon last week for his order to prohibit in-person dining at restaurants, as well as bans due to the COVID-19 spread. The plaintiffs argue that the industry is being unfairly targeted and data doesn't support the restrictions. So in court filings, the state argues otherwise, citing studies, including one that shows indoor spaces can be nearly 20 times more likely for COVID transmission than open spaces. So that is continuing to play out in the federal courts here in the state of Michigan. So we'll have to see where things go. But of course, the restaurants did lose round one because they had sought an immediate injunction. A judge ruled against that. However, it's continuing to play out. And that information is on Pacer, though, if you want to continue along with that case. But Tyler, it is going to be interesting to see how this actually works, because I think there's a reason why they picked filing this in federal court on the western part of the state versus in state court, as well as in the Eastern District as well.
Yeah, this is still very much an ongoing case. It's still far from being entirely over, and the restaurants are fighting for this. They're in a tough spot, especially the independently owned restaurants. I mean, we spoke yesterday to Grace Quiros, who was very passionate about this issue. Of course, American Coney Island doing all right. They're managing. They're getting by. They're going to survive this. But a lot of other smaller restaurants, especially those that have just started in the city of Detroit and in the metro area, a lot of those are going to go away as a result of the pandemic just in general, but also the second shutdown that's very much limiting what they can do, and in some ways maybe discouraging people from getting food from those organizations because they can't go inside and have a traditional sit-down meal.
Well, on the flip side of this, hey, teenagers, if you're coming home from college, earn some brownie points with your parents right now and help them with Thanksgiving dinner. So we'll see how that goes for them. By the way, speaking of college students coming home, the CDC may reduce the recommendation for the quarantine period. In an effort to encourage compliance, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention may reduce the recommended quarantine period for those exposed to the virus from 14 days to somewhere between 7 and 10. That's according to an article in the Wall Street Journal. The newspaper said agency officials are putting the final touches on the recommendation, which would require a negative COVID test for the exposed person to end quarantine. Henry Welke, with the CDC's incident manager for COVID-19 response, told the Journal that studies have shown effective quarantines can be done in less time than the currently recommended 2 weeks, although there is a chance of some infections could be missed. He said, but there's still a valuable trade-off to be gained, because hopefully more people will follow the guidelines of only 7 days versus 10 to 14 days. But I think one of the questions here is that negative COVID-19 test, because the testing has been all over the place during this pandemic, Tyler. One of the things coming out is also like, it could stay in your system for up to 3 months. So if that happens and you don't get a negative test, well, what do you show your boss? Yeah. So there's so many conversations still to be had about this.
Yeah, the testing, the incubation period, how long a quarantine should be. These have been questions throughout the pandemic. And as we've gotten further on in the pandemic and the testing has gotten better, it's gotten more accurate, it's gotten quicker, that incubation period remains the same, but the quarantine period that you really need in order before you're going to be able to have COVID-19 detected in these tests has reduced, because the quality of the tests and the quality of the procedures has drastically improved over time. But that being said, as you mentioned, one of the key issues with that is how do you prove that you need to be quarantining? How do you prove that you have been tested and that you are testing negative without providing personal information that's not entirely necessary to your place of work, where there should be some trust there that says, okay, if they're taking precautions so they're not infecting our entire office, that should be something we take seriously, but also the accountability so that people are not milking a bad situation for excessive time off.
I will say I'm so glad I'm not in the HR department right now with any of these companies, right? But this is interesting. I think we're going to start to see more companies follow suit. Ford aims to offer COVID-19 vaccine to its employees. So in an attempt to keep the fast-spreading coronavirus pandemic from again disrupting its operations, Ford Motor Company has ordered a dozen of those ultra-cold freezers to store vaccines globally when they become available. And at this point, the company is looking to offer the vaccine to employees only. And the matters of COVID-19 protocol overall, Ford has been proactive about offering guidance and support to families of employees. However, the company hasn't yet decided if factory workers will be offered incentives if they do in fact take the vaccine. Ford has billions of dollars at stake with the upcoming 2021 F-150, the Bronco, and the all-electric Mustang. So when we're looking at so many of these companies, you're wondering, how is this going to work with the companies as they try to get their hands on the vaccines themselves? So instead of relying on a health department or a doctor's office to administer them, some of these companies may be doing it themselves. But if you're an employee, are you going to feel like you're under pressure to get the vaccine?
Yeah, I think in this situation, that is going to be what many employees are going to feel, because these companies are competitively seeking these vaccines so that they can get their employees vaccinated as soon as possible and hopefully make their office immune, so to speak, to COVID-19, should that be the ultimate result of whichever vaccine that they get, so that they can return to normal operations as soon as possible, because frankly those are more profitable than what they're currently going through. That being said, the employees have a personal right to decide whether or not they get vaccine A versus vaccine B, C, D, whatever, or get the vaccine at all. And if it's coming down to their job or the vaccine, that is a pressured situation that maybe is not entirely appropriate for a company to be forcing an employee into.
I will say, Tyler, I think this is going to be a fascinating subject to study going forward, because it's not going to just play out in your workplace, but I think we're also going to see it in general with schools, with, like we saw at Ticketmaster. Hey, to go to a concert, to go to a sporting event, are you now going to have to show proof of a COVID vaccine? And then what happens down the road if you were a company that required it and then they find out there are side effects? Could you be held liable for that and the medical health implications? So many fascinating angles to this entire pandemic, and only time will tell. Hey, Tyler, did you happen to catch the governor's video message yesterday?
I did not see a video message.
So anyone who missed it, it's posted on the state of Michigan's, the governor's Twitter page, so you can check it out. But the governor yesterday reminding Michiganders of the COVID-19 safety guidance set for the Thanksgiving holiday. Governor Whitmer released the video Tuesday encouraging Michiganders, wear a mask, practice your safe physical distancing, wash your hands frequently, and follow the new MDHHS epidemic order. Meanwhile, the health department also issued new guidance for vulnerable populations this Thanksgiving. While we are advising everyone to avoid Thanksgiving gatherings beyond their own households, it's especially critical that residents of nursing homes and other group homes remain in their homes during the holiday. That's according to the HHS Director Robert Gordon. If these individuals contact COVID while traveling, they run the risk of bringing it back to others who are vulnerable to illness and even death. So just a reminder, hey, we know that so many people want to bring their loved ones home, maybe out of the long-term nursing care facilities for the holidays, but they are advising against that. But also the governor putting out that video yesterday. If anyone missed it, you can check it out on the governor's Twitter page.
Yeah, I did not see that message, but it's an important message to give to the public right now, as many are traveling or considering traveling or are going to be traveling today to their families across the state, maybe even across the country, which is probably not the best idea during this season. And reiterating, even if it is last minute to some people that may be making those plans, that they may want to modify them, that there are some virtual options, and that these kind of gatherings may just have to take a year off. If it gets through to someone, then that could be a potentially life-saving message. So didn't see it, but it's a nice message.
Well, and really, it was nothing new. We've heard it all before. Right. I'm always like, it starts to sound like a broken record after a while. We know that, but I guess we all need reminders. Hey, Tyler, we have a lot to get to on the Wednesday edition here of the Oakland County Megacast this Thanksgiving Eve. But we're going to take a quick break. But before, just to give you a quick lineup of everyone on today's show, we'll be speaking with Steve Kaplan. He is the West Bloomfield Township Supervisor. We'll talk a little bit about some of the things they have going on, and plus also what Oakland County is doing to help seniors during the pandemic, and how they can get some things delivered to their home. We'll also be speaking with the Artist Club out of Detroit and downtown Royal Oak. We'll be speaking to them about some of the things that they've been doing. It'll be interesting because everyone's having to shift so many of their holiday plans. I know Royal Oak always had a big holiday parade, as well as a lot of bars and restaurants would do like those jingle runs. I'm sure Tyler probably didn't take place in them, but I was there, dressed in my reindeer outfit and everything. So we'll check in with downtown Royal Oak to see how they're doing. And then also puppet art. It is such a thing, and it is very popular with kids. However, how is that going right now in the middle of a pandemic? And then we'll also be speaking with Paws for Life Animal Rescue. In the beginning of this pandemic, we saw a good thing come out of it, in that a lot of animals were being adopted. But is that still the case 8 months into the pandemic? And how are some of these nonprofits surviving when they can't rely on the donations and the fundraising that they once did? So a lot to come here on the Wednesday edition of the Oakland County Megacast. We'll take a quick break and be back in just a minute.
Michigan, we're calling on you to save lives. Don't ignore it. Don't let it go to voicemail. It's urgent. In fact, it's critical. Because if you've been in close contact with someone who tests positive for COVID-19, you may have been exposed to the virus. And you could get a call from My COVID Help or your local health department. So please answer the call to learn how to protect yourself, your family, and friends. We're calling on you to stop the spread of COVID-19, to make it safe to reopen businesses and help Michigan move forward. So if you get a call from My COVID Help or your local health department, you may have been exposed to someone with COVID-19. To protect us all, answer the call. Learn more at michigan.gov/containcovid. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
Hi, my name is Kurt Lawson, and I'm the Public Information Officer for West Bloomfield Township. We wanted to reach out to you, our older adults, to provide information that you may find useful during this difficult time. We want to ensure you that West Bloomfield Town Hall, our Waters and Utility Department, West Bloomfield Parks, and our police and fire departments continue to work hard on your behalf. Information and resources can be found on the Township website, the police Facebook and Twitter, or call West Bloomfield Park's COVID-19 Help Hotline. Please remember to keep your social distance of at least 6 feet Wear facial coverings when you leave your home and wash your hands for at least 20 seconds with soap. These precautions will help keep you safe during these difficult times.
Great to have you back with us on the Wednesday edition of the Oakland County Megacast. It is Thanksgiving Eve. We're happy to bring in our first guest of the day, Steve Kaplan. He's the West Bloomfield Township Supervisor. Steve, I'm on my second cup of coffee, but I found at Starbucks they have the Keurig coffee that's like 3 times the amount of caffeine.
Ronnie, you don't need it. You're always animated.
So I'm a little, I've been awake because my dog woke me up early. She kicks me out of bed. Do you have any pets?
During college, I had beagles. I love dogs, but my wife is not a fan of canines.
Oh, wow. You probably sleep much better at night without a dog. Hey, always
But
great to have.
Thanks, Ronnie. One advantage of not having a dog is my wife can't banish me to the doghouse.
You know what? You need to make that into a sign. That's a great sign. Well, it's always great to have you with us here on the Oakland County Megacast. We had you on the day following the election. It seems, thankfully, things are starting to calm down post-election. How has it been there at the township offices?
Well, we, the township officials, the elected officials and staff, are proud to tell you that only 37% of the municipalities in Oakland County are open. So of the 59 cities, townships, and villages in Oakland County, only 21 are open to the public. So we remain open, and we're not critical of the other municipalities. Every municipality has its dynamics and peculiarities, but we're here. So if you arrived here, Ronnie or Tyler or Larry, you need something, the doors are open, we're fully staffed. I think that's important to people. I think people need to know that local government is working, phones are being answered, appointments are not needed to visit town hall.
How do you make that decision? Because it's got to be a tricky one for you, right? It's a balancing act.
It's based mainly on whether our staff feels comfortable and safe. Ronnie, if we have employees who are concerned about contracting COVID-19, then they're not going to want to come to work, or if they are at work, they feel unsafe, they're somewhat petrified. So what we do is, and we're not alone in this, we haven't invented the new mousetrap, but we maintain a very, very safe premises with constant sanitizing, constant cleaning. Everybody's wearing a mask, their face covering as they should. We enforce the 6-foot rule. It's really 10 feet. We have plexiglass protecting our public when they visit with us. So when they're talking to one of our staff members, there's plexiglass. The point is our staff feels comfortable. Of our 91 employees since March 3rd, only 4 have contracted the coronavirus, and all of them are safe and back at work.
That's amazing, especially considering right now there is a spread of the virus that seems to be moving through our community and the state of Michigan. So for you to be able to have such low numbers, it says a lot about you and your team, but not even so much about what's going on at the office, but also a lot of it has to do with what people are doing outside of the workplace.
Right, difficult to control what people do, but we discourage our employees from leaving the state. Obviously, this isn't a prison here, but we encourage people to remain in the state, because when you leave the state, you never know what's going to happen, the number of people you'll interact with. And I think most of our staff has abided by it's not a requirement, but by our suggestion.
So, Steve, I know you have a legal background, and I don't know if you can even just give me your 2 cents, nothing more than an opinion on this question. Is that we're seeing, like we just mentioned, Ford is getting ready to have vaccines available for their employees when the vaccines are widely distributed. What are your thoughts about vaccines with the workplace? Is it something that an employer could require that for some of their employees?
Excellent question, Ronnie. And although I am a lawyer, I was a prosecuting attorney for 26 years. I probably know enough outside of criminal law to be dangerous. But this much I do know. Employees who work at a hospital, they can be mandated to receive the vaccine, and if they don't, then they will not be working. I'm not saying they'll be discharged, but they won't be on the premises. Take a facility or an area like West Bloomfield Township local government. In my view, we cannot mandate that employees submit to the inoculation because, as we know, it's not 100% foolproof. There could be side effects. We don't know, but we will strongly encourage people to receive the vaccination. And we might even consider, as what you said regarding Ford Motor Company, we might have a day here at Township Town Hall where not only the 91 employees here, but the 206 other employees, public safety, water department, fire, police, that we will provide through a nurse the inoculation or vaccination.
There are so many different facets to this pandemic. As the township supervisor, what keeps you up at night?
Well, nothing at all, because we have wonderful staff. We have a great board. All 7 of us were reelected, so that shows that the public is satisfied with what we're doing. But mainly, Ronnie, it's having top people working for the township, which we do. I'll compare our department heads with any municipality. I know I sound like a cheerleader, but the fact is it's like what you do on a daily basis. You have great staff working with you, including Larry and Tyler. You and Tyler are teammates, obviously. But Ronnie, you know that everything's being taken care of properly. And when you arrive in the morning for work, that all is well.
It is good that, as you said, so many people were reelected, so you have a good working relationship. Those things can be vital in trying to run a township in the middle of a pandemic. With that, though, if we can kind of shift the conversation just a little bit, there are some good things coming out of this pandemic. What, from a township supervisor standpoint, do you think has been the silver lining that's bringing your community closer together?
Well, we have an educated electorate. People who live in West Bloomfield, they do care about the community. Well, everybody living anywhere cares about the community. But I think that our residents, and we haven't taken a survey, and nobody's perfect, but I think they're heeding the health department's admonitions regarding social gathering and limiting the number of people in your home. Tyler mentioned it earlier before the interview began, that I think for Thanksgiving, although people love their families, and many people consider Thanksgiving to be the most cherished holiday of all. It's the first holiday, of course, in the colonies in 1621. But I know just anecdotally that most families are meeting in small groups, if at all, because they don't want to contract it. We know, Tyler said this many times, the virus is invisible to all of us. It doesn't discriminate among poor, rich, happy, unhappy. We don't know. We just know we have to be as careful as we can. Well, I think our residents are pleased that we remain open, the services are there. And you asked about something favorable that's occurring. Well, if you were to poll the residents, what do you like best about West Bloomfield Township government? They might say the household hazardous waste days. Because we have many environmentalists who live in our township, and they love being able to turn over the recycling, the batteries, the paint, the oil, the electronics, where they don't end up in landfills. So we have expanded our household hazardous waste services in the year 2021.
Yeah, because so many people were basically kind of hoarding those items in their garage and their basements, waiting for these hazardous waste removal days. So I think we had you on once before talking about it prior, and then I was watching on Facebook. I know you had long lines. So when you say you're expanding it, how is that going to work?
We're having 3 separate shredding days, but shredding will not be provided at the 2 weekends in 2021 where we're offering household hazardous waste. Instead, we have 3 shredding days that are held separately, April 17, July 31, and November the 6th. And then, so that'll reduce the lines because we have determined, Kathy Cederlin and Amy Neary lead the charge force on household hazardous waste day. They're long-term employees here, but they have concluded that approximately 22% of the visitors to Town Hall for household hazardous waste day are here for shredding. So it slows down the process. So by having 3 separate shredding days, shredding alone, we think will facilitate the traffic, People will not have to wait as long. We've had individuals wait as long as 2 hours. That's quite a commitment, Ronnie, to wait in your car, although they can listen to 89.3 FM, the Lake station, which is wonderful. But waiting in your car for 2 hours to deposit recyclables, that's a commitment. So we're going to reduce the time probably by 50%, if not more.
Yeah, thank you for the plug for 89.3. But you are right. 2 hours, I will say that it seems to me that some people would say, the heck with it, I'm just going to go home and throw it out in my trash. So can we talk a little bit about the seniors being offered the free Shipt memberships? I know it's not necessarily directly through West Bloomfield, but your residents can take part.
All the credit belongs to Oakland County, Dave Coulter, and his staff. But the service is called Shipt, and I had to be careful pronouncing that, S-H-I-P-T, Shipt. So what it means is a senior defined as 60 years old or older, so you're about 30 years away from that category, Ronnie. If they purchase $35
you're my favorite person with that statement right there, by the way.
Being truthful. So they can purchase groceries. There's no fee at all, as long as they're purchasing $35 or more. And all these stores are participating, like Kroger and Bush's and Walmart and Kroger, Meijer, not Kmart, they're not around. But so the calls have to be made through Oakland County by December the 10th. And I do have an email address. It's oakgov, O-A-K, oakgov.com, and that'll lead you to the services. But this is wonderful for our seniors. Some of them are homebound, as you know. Some of them do not drive. Others might be in ill health. And also, in this way, they don't have to fight the traffic, and they'll have the groceries delivered to them at no charge, as long as they purchase at least $35 worth of groceries.
To me, that is such a great program, just because so many people are uncomfortable going out during the second wave and the second surge. Quickly, before we let you go, can we just talk a little bit more about that? How concerned are you as a township supervisor about the second wave in the community?
Well, Tyler is very well versed, so are you, but I've heard Tyler talk about this many times, and it's incredulous, the number of people who have been afflicted. We have more victims, so to speak, now than we did back in March, April, and May. Fortunately, the medical community has discovered how to treat the virus in a better manner. Not as many people are dying, and not as many are on respirators. But it seems that the increase in numbers, the surge, emanates, I would say, from the small gatherings where you have 10 people at your house. Think about it. Maybe you invite 6 or 7 people to your house. You're thinking, oh, these are wonderful people. They're careful. They wash their hands. But all it takes is one of them to be asymptomatic, and now everybody contracts it. On Channel 2 News last week, you might have seen it. There's an Hispanic family. There was a gathering at somebody's house for a birthday. 17 family members, all 17 are sick with the virus in different degrees.
Yeah, those are scary moments. Tyler, do you want to jump in on this conversation?
Yeah. So, Steve, just another couple minutes before we have to let you go today. But I did want to touch on yesterday, West Bloomfield held its final budget meeting for the 2020 calendar year. You're getting ready to open that up to public hearing for those residents that either haven't viewed the meeting yet and will either do so this Wednesday afternoon at 1 o'clock on a replay or online on civiccentertv.com. How has this budget year, planning for next budget year, been different because of the pandemic than in years past? And for residents that are curious about the upcoming budget and want to either learn more or want to be involved in the public hearing, the virtual public hearing coming up in December, where can they get more information on that?
Good questions, Tyler. Any resident can call the supervisor's office or the clerk's office. We'll be happy to lead those residents to the website, or we can even email the materials. But I think our residents can depend on the fact that we are extremely conservative, not politically, but we're conservative in terms of our budgeting, which means that we have a high fund equity balance. It might be 40%. That's like your rainy day fund. It's not allocated for anything. And the reason we have a high fund equity balance is we can meet emergencies. So for example, Tyler, what if property values decline substantially? What if state revenue sharing diminished substantially? What happens? Do we lay off? Do we reduce services? No, we have that bank we can go to. So we're protected. You know that some people live month to month, and we as a municipality, we don't live month to month. We're ready. We budget 2 years in advance, essentially. So I think that should make residents comfortable that they're not going to have to worry about layoffs. You know, our staff, they're part of our family, and I know that's maybe self-serving, but they are our family, and we want them to feel comfortable, and they don't have to worry about losing their jobs or working part-time, because we're very conservative in terms of our budgeting.
Well, we appreciate the update on the budget because it is a big concern for so many people as we continue to navigate the COVID-19 crisis, as well as the businesses. Any feedback that you are getting as Township Supervisor from some of the businesses that have had to take a pause, restaurants, the bars that are only doing carry out, some have just closed because it's not fiscally possible for them to do carry out. Any feedback that you are getting from the businesses there in West Bloomfield?
Well, you have ignited an area where it is doomy and gloomy. Everything positive that I've said to this point does not apply to the small businesses. Restaurants are closing. It's been estimated that 50% of the restaurants in Michigan will be shuttered and might not open again. And that is very sad, not only for these people who have worked hard, the owners of the restaurants and the managers and the staff who might not have work to do. Each restaurant is part of the collective family, so to speak. It's part of the aura, ambience of a city, municipality, city, township, or village. And think about it, when you have a favorite restaurant or a second favorite restaurant, you go there, you enjoy it, it's part of the collective memory. And also other businesses are closing because there isn't enough foot traffic. This is very sad, and people are losing their life's work, so to speak. But people tend to be resilient, and all we can do is be optimistic.
Be optimistic, and as we go into this holiday season, so many people will be Black Friday and shopping, go out and maybe pick up a gift card, do something to support those local businesses. Steve Kaplan with us here on the Oakland County Megacast. He is the West Bloomfield Township Supervisor. Always great having you with us. Thank you for your time, and to you and your family, happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Ronnie and Tyler. Appreciate it. Nice seeing you.
You too. We're going to take a quick break here on the Oakland County Megacast, and when we come back, we will be switching the conversation just a little bit and talking about the arts during this pandemic. This is the Oakland County Megacast.
This may seem uncomfortable, but so is being hooked to an IV, sleeping in a hospital bed, and fighting for your life. When it comes to COVID-19, comfort is not as important as saving lives. Wearing a mask can greatly reduce the chance of spreading the virus. So mask up, Michigan, every time you leave home.
As rivals, we don't always see eye to eye.
Like who scored the best recruits?
Who's gonna be who?
And whether we wear green or blue.
But one thing we can all agree on to help stop the spread of COVID-19. Wear a mask.
Wear a mask.
Wear a mask.
Wear a mask. Wear a mask.
The ball's in your court, Michigan.
Always great to have you with us here on the Oakland County Megacast. I'm Ronnie Dahl here at my home studios while Tyler Keith holds things down back at the Civic Center TV studios. And as a reminder, you can catch Tyler and I Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to noon here on Civic Center TV, Birmingham Area Municipal Access. If you have cable, we want to say thank you. You can tune in to Channel 15 on Comcast, Channel 99 on AT&T. Also, if you're out driving around, 89.3 Lakes FM, 88.1 FM, the Biff. And then today we are live streaming today's edition of the Oakland County Megacast on my journalist Facebook page, Ronnie Dahl. So you can check us out there as well. But also we just want a quick programming note that typically we are here Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to noon. However, this week we will be off on Thursday and Friday. So we are trying to fit it all in here on the Thanksgiving Eve edition of the Oakland County Megacast. And joining us now on the program is MaryAnn Wilkinson. She's the executive director for the Scarab Club. I will say, the club was founded in 1907. I thought I knew a lot about Detroit, but I'm sorry and embarrassed to say I didn't know about your organization. So can you fill us in?
Well, good morning, Ronnie. Thank you for having me on this morning. Yes, of course. We at the Scarab Club sometimes think of ourselves as the best kept secret in Metro Detroit for that very reason, that there are a lot of people in the metro area who've lived their whole lives here and have never visited or even knew about the Scarab Club. But we were indeed founded in 1907 by a group of male advertising execs and artists who wanted a place to come together and have dinner and draw and exchange ideas about art and probably smoke cigars. And so they founded what was then known as the Hopkin Club, named after one of the artists who was the original founder, Robert Hopkin. And they started in 1907, moved around the city and met in various places, and finally put together the money in 1928 to build a building. So we have a 3-story building that is just east of the DIA. We're on the corner of John R. and Farnsworth. We preferred not to think of it as behind the DIA, as people say sometimes, but next to. But we have a very beautiful historic building. We're a historic landmark, in fact, that is open to the public 5 days a week, and where we love to have visitors. So I hope when you're downtown again, you'll stop in and see what we're doing.
You know, one of the things I think is great about this show is we are able to highlight organizations such as yours. Maybe people didn't know you existed, such as myself, and I was in Detroit every single day for how many years? And with that, are you open right now to the public?
We are. We closed for 4 months in mid-March, but we opened again in mid-July. We, like all of the other organizations in the Cultural Center, we all opened on the same day, on July 10th. We are open to the public 5 days a week, 12 to 5, Wednesday through Sunday, with the exception of this week when we won't be open tomorrow. But we are what the Scarab Club is, and a lot of people don't think that they can come in because they think we're a private club. Mm-hmm. And it started out that way, but we're a long way from that now. We have about 500 members, and that's part of how we support our programming is through memberships. They're primarily artists, but also people who are really interested in the arts. Because in our building, we have exhibitions going all the time. We have lectures and performances, concerts, recitals. We do professional workshops for artists. We do all sorts of things to promote art, to support the artist community, and to give people who are interested in art a way to start to think about being an artist or being a collector.
So I love that. It's a community. Basically, it's a community. So you said you were open right now. Is it limited capacity? Do people have to have an appointment to come in? How is that working?
Well, actually, we're kind of excited because we're opening our holiday show this afternoon at noon, which is known as the Gold Medal Show. And this is the 107th gold medal show that we're presenting. And it is for members only. They submit their work and it's juried. And the winner, the best in show, gets an actual gold medal that is the same design that we've used since about 1917, I think. So it's pretty exciting. It's a pretty big deal. It's always a really wonderful show. But for visitors to come, you do not need to make an appointment. We do limit our capacity to 20 people an hour because we're a pretty small building. Visitors must wear a mask the entire time they are in the building, and they must complete a health questionnaire that we're required to do by the city for contact tracing. So it's not shared with anybody until or unless someone comes down with the virus, and then we have to get in touch with people. So we have put in a lot of safeguards to keep people from getting sick when they come into our building. We have hand sanitizers all over the place. We have beefed up our ventilation, and we have a one-way passage through the building so that people can keep distance from each other.
MaryAnn, can you talk a little bit about how this pandemic has impacted artists overall? Because for so many of them, they rely on the summer art fairs, organizations and events like that, public events, in order to make a living. What are you seeing on your end about the impact that the COVID-19 crisis is having on some of the artists?
Well, the tough thing for the Scarab Club and for its members is that we are primarily a place where people come to see each other. They come to meet, to see exhibitions, to talk about art. And it's really hard to do that when you can only have a few people or no people at one time. And so many artists find that they are stuck in their studios, and, you know, talking to each other via Zoom is just really not cutting it. But one thing that we have done is to really beef up our online presence, like so many arts organizations have. So we first started out when we were closed. We had an online show called Lockdown, where we asked artists to submit work that they were doing in the studio when they couldn't go anyplace else. So that was very, very popular. We got lots of submissions. And since then, even though we have physical exhibitions going on again, we also have virtual exhibitions on our website. And that has really fueled sales. The last couple of months, we've sold a lot more art than we did in the early part of the year. And I think it's because people can see it both online, and when they come to the club, they can see the real thing. So we're trying really hard to support our artists, but it's tough. It's tough out there for everybody.
I do think the general public likes that behind the scenes look. They feel like they're getting special access. But from an artist standpoint, it also kind of adds to their story.
Absolutely. We have a video program now on our website called In the Studio, where we've asked artists to do a kind of ad hoc studio tour around their studio that they can film however they wish. And they're really fun, and they tell you so much about an artist that is more than just looking at a single work of art. It's really pretty incredible and lots of fun to check out.
So you had mentioned you, like so many of the artists and other organizations across the country and the state of Michigan, are trying to up their online presence. Well, what do you think is going to be the one positive thing that's come out of COVID-19 and this crisis that maybe is going to be a benefit that you'll keep around?
We know that we will never go back to not having an online presence. We hadn't really paid much attention to our website or to online programming until this happened, and we were forced to immediately pivot and go to an online presence and develop some new programming. And we will never go back from that, I am sure, because it's such a great complement to the physical programming that we're doing. We just started a program, well, I should back up and say that one of the things that the Scarab Club has always been known for is that we are a place where people can come and sketch from an actual model. And if you're not a student, it's hard to find, especially in this area. But the Scarab Club has done it for decades. And of course, that came to a screeching halt when we closed in March. But we've started up now a Zoom sketch session where the model is in the Scarab Club with a moderator who poses him or her and times it. And artists can sign up and come onto the session via Zoom. And even once we go back to being able to have in-person sketch sessions again, I'm sure that we will keep the virtual ones. They've been very, very popular.
Yeah, because have you been able to reach people well beyond the regional area that maybe you wouldn't have reached before?
Oh, for sure. And when we closed in April, one of our first programs was a piano recital that was supposed to happen the first weekend of April. We have a historic piano, and it's kind of a treat for pianists to do a program on it. But the pianist who runs that program was stuck in Sweden. She couldn't travel because it was closed down. So she did her program virtually from a black box studio that she found in Malmö, the city in Sweden where she was stuck. And she did the program online. And we got so many more viewers than we could ever have accommodated in the club itself. It was really a great success, even though it had some technical glitches like they all did, at the beginning of these virtual programs. So we've learned from those kinds of experiences that people haven't given up on the arts, and they really need the arts in their life, especially now when you can't get together with family and friends in the same way.
Yeah, it is a comfort for so many people to have that creative outlet. MaryAnn Wilkinson with us here quickly before we let you go. Can you let people know the location or how they can find out more if they want to come down and visit or even check out some of your online exhibitions and events that you have going on?
Absolutely. Our website is www.scarabclub, SCARABCLUB.org. Our address is 217 Farnsworth Street. We're at the corner of Farnsworth and John R., next to the big DIA parking lot.
It was so crazy. I passed you so many times and didn't realize that that's what you were. So I am definitely putting you on my must-visit list.
Thank you. And we're open 12 to 5, Wednesday through Sunday.
And will you be open this weekend as well?
Yes. We will not be open tomorrow, but we'll be open Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, our regular hours, and no appointment is necessary.
Well, great to have you with us here on the Oakland County Megacast. We appreciate you and say thank you to your entire team. And we wish you the best of luck as COVID-19 crisis continues. But a vaccine is around the corner, and let's hope this pandemic comes to an end as well.
Let's hope so. Thank you for having me, Ronnie, and happy Thanksgiving.
To you as well. We're going to take a quick break here on the Oakland County Megacast. And when we come back, we will be heading to the city of Royal Oak.
Michigan, the coronavirus pandemic has put us all to the test. And now it's time to put COVID-19 to the test. As we move forward, testing will be critical. We encourage anyone who has reason to get tested to do so, those with symptoms and those without. If you are leaving home and going back to work, get tested. If you think you may have COVID-19 or you've been exposed recently through family, friends, or coworkers, get tested. Our test locator tool can help you find the right testing site that fits your needs. Even if you're looking for easy access with no cost, no prescription, and no appointment necessary, we've got you covered. Help Michigan move forward, not backward. To find a testing site or learn more, visit michigan.gov/coronavirus test. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. Michigan, we still need to stay careful because we don't want to go backwards, back to where we started. So keep standing 6 feet apart. Keep wearing a mask in public. And if you have symptoms, talk to a healthcare provider about getting tested. To move forward, let's all do our part. So stay careful. Michigan.gov/coronavirus.
Great to have you with us on this Thanksgiving Eve, the Wednesday edition of the Oakland County Megacast. When it's not only about Thanksgiving, this week is also about shopping. The holiday shopping season typically kicks off on Friday for Black Friday. And one of the popular destinations for the Black Friday holiday shopping is the city of Royal Oak. To talk a little bit more about what you can expect if you want to head into the fine city is going to be Sean Kamer. He is with us now on the Oakland County Megacast. Thank you for being with us.
Thanks. It's a pleasure to be here this morning, Ronnie.
So I went to the farmers market there in Royal Oak this past Saturday. I'm so happy to say that it was busier, and it seemed like a lot more vendors were there than a few months ago when I visited. Construction's still a little bit of an issue, but are you seeing crowds return to the city of Royal Oak?
Yeah, so I want to say that over the summer, when the shutdown was lifted, we had retailers that were reporting upwards of 20% increases in their sales. Now, a lot of our businesses are really fantastic at respecting the public health guidelines, making sure that they're not violating any sort of capacity rules, anything like that. So, we want people to support Main Street, support all the small independent shops that really compose Royal Oak. We're really known for our independent retail. We're also a restaurant town. We have upwards of 60 restaurants in the downtown alone. But we also want to make sure that people are enjoying a safe and healthy experience when they're coming down. And there are ways to do that if everyone respects the public health guidelines.
Yeah, and Sean, before we get into the restaurant industry and what's happening with that and the impact from some of these health orders, can we talk a little bit about Black Friday and shopping? Anything some of the downtown businesses are doing to try to support local during the holiday shopping season? Because it seems like the online competition right now is crazy because it started early too.
Right, absolutely. So this is a very unique year in terms of shopping and how to buy, gifts for your friends and family. Typically Black Friday is a major shopping holiday. Downtown Royal Oak also has Small Business Saturday, which is the following Saturday after Thanksgiving. That's the day where people are really encouraged to support small businesses, independent shop, retail. So we are encouraging people to come down to Royal Oak, not just physically and shop in person, but also to order things like curbside, carry out, take out, things like that. Really engage at the level of your comfort. Do so in a really safe way. One thing that the Royal Oak Downtown Development Authority is doing, my employer, is we have an e-gift card program. If you go to visitroyaloak.com, you can purchase a $10, $30, or $50 gift card that can be redeemed at upwards of 75 locations in downtown Royal Oak. As a special bonus, the DDA will match a free card at 50% of the value. So let's say you come down and you buy a $30 card at visitroyaloak.com. We will give you a free $15 bonus card that you can use any one of these 70 locations in downtown Royal Oak. So we're really encouraging people to do that online at visitroyaloak.com. We really think that it's going to assist people and really incentivize them to shop locally. Because it's an e-gift card, you can even use it on a phone-in order. It works just like a MasterCard with a 16-digit code that they can take over the phone. I know a lot of our retailers do have online presences. You can purchase things from a lot of our retailers online as well. You can come and pick it up at the curbside if you'd like. So there's a lot of ways that we are adapting, and we're trying to adjust to the new environment here to make things a lot safer for people, while still making sure that we're helping to save our main street in the process.
And you know what? I think one of the great things about so many of the Main Street downtown stores, it's about the unique gifts that you can get. You're not only supporting local, but it's those unique gifts that you can't get on Amazon.
Oh, absolutely. We have one retailer in particular, Made in the Mitten, and her entire store is composed of local vendors who create their own products, and it is a massive tourist destination. And the things that she has in that store are just incredible. And she routinely gets a lot of media coverage just because of the uniqueness of the products that she carries in her store.
Those are always great too, for the hard to buy person, or as a hostess gift, or for people that have moved out of the state of Michigan. And Sean, if we can kind of dip into the conversation, restaurants. Royal Oak is known for its restaurants and bars. And now, with this latest order coming out of the health department, what do you think the future of some of the businesses there in your city? Can they weather this second surge?
That's a fantastic question. We are hoping that people do continue to maintain a relationship with their favorite restaurant in downtown Royal Oak. There are ways to do that. You can do carry-out orders. You can have curbside delivery. As I mentioned, you can even use the gift cards and the free cards that we provide you to use at these restaurants as well. So if you are doing a curbside or takeout order, we can cover up to 50% of that bill with the bonus cards. I think there was this very strong sense of unity in the restaurant community during the first shutdown in March. And we mobilized pretty quickly to make sure that people knew that there was curbside delivery, who was doing curbside delivery, where they could go to find lists. We're currently putting together those lists, and we'll have them online very soon. But I think because of the second round, we can mobilize just as quickly. We know how to get the word out to get people to continue to come down and buy from their favorite restaurants. The second surge, there is a lot of uncertainty around all of this. We've never been through a second surge of this before, clearly. So we'll have to really see how things play out. But we really are doing everything we can to make sure that we're connecting customers to local businesses.
Yeah, I think during the first round, there was definitely a rallying cry around trying to support your local businesses and the local restaurants and bars. But we're in the middle of this 8 months in, and people are fatigued. But also, you have so many people that have also maybe lost their jobs or had to find new employment, and they're not making the money they once did before. So it's harder for them to support these restaurants. But then on the flip side, you have so many of these employees as well that don't have that financial cushion from the federal government that they had during the first round. And tonight, typically one of the biggest bar nights in the through the year, the night before Thanksgiving, and you wonder about so many of these bars and restaurants, even the ones with outdoor dining. Are they going to be able to survive? And I would imagine that they're still going to be open tonight there in Royal Oak, the ones that are able to. Right. And we did do a special permit earlier in the year that allowed businesses to move their dining outside. In the summer, it was a lot more conducive for this. So now we're actually seeing, heaters being brought out, for outdoor seating and things like that. And for the most part, it's worked relatively well in terms of that. As we get into the colder months, we'll have to see how that dynamic changes. It definitely is that there is a lot of suspense around it to see who will be able to weather this. We hope all of them. But yes, there are indeed real challenges here to local businesses during all of this. And John, I know, as you mentioned, that the city has been helping some of these businesses with the outdoor permits. How is that going to look going into the winter months? Because you're hearing kind of conflicting information some of these businesses already invested in the igloos. However, is an igloo considered indoor dining because it's enclosed? And what about a tent? Does the tent have to be open on so many sides? How does all that work?
Yes. So basically, if you completely enclose it outside, it kind of defeats the purpose of it being an outside, dining area with air circulation. So, we have to be mindful of that. And so we just have to make sure that all the businesses are abiding by the health department guidelines on, how they can make sure that people are outside and dining safely. But yeah, as we move into the winter months, it's going to get extremely challenging.
And talking about that again, if you mentioned the gift certificates and the e-gifts, so if I go on to your website right now and purchase one, can I use it tonight, like right now, or is there
Absolutely.
a time limit?
No, absolutely. So if you purchase a card now, we will send you within a few minutes to your email the card you purchase, and you will also receive your bonus card as a separate gift. You can use those immediately. The card you purchase never expires. The card that is given to you as a bonus gift, that expires actually at the end of June in 2021. So there's ample time to use it. We want to make sure that people observe Small Business Saturday, but we certainly don't want people to, all rush down on one weekend to try to do it. So that's why we're doing this gift promotion throughout the entire holiday season. So the match that we will provide for people's purchases, that will continue throughout the end of 2020. So the last day to do that is December 31st. So, we certainly want people to support small businesses, but we definitely want them to do it, as spread out as they can and throughout the holiday season so that, of course, that it's safe.
So when you said that there is a match, where do those funds come from?
Those funds are actually provided by the Downtown Development Authority itself. And the Downtown Development Authority is a public entity. It's kind of an arm of the city. And it basically manages economic development programs in downtown Royal Oak.
So it's a form of taxpayer funded though, right? Right.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Just to be clear. So with that, quickly before we let you go, anything that you want the public to know other than come down and visit the city of Royal Oak, go to the farmers market. It's great.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic. One last thing that I just like to quickly mention is because we have these gift cards, there are other ways that you can get free gift cards. If you follow Downtown Royal Oak's Instagram account, which is at @downtown_Royal Oak, on Small Business Saturday, we're going to be announcing a social media contest that will allow people to win free gift cards. So so follow us on Instagram for additional free gift cards. Check out our gift card program at visitroyaloak.com.
Free gift cards, we like that. Consider yourself having at least one new follower. I'm joining right now. So, Sean, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to be with us here on the Oakland County Megacast, and happy Thanksgiving. Quickly, though, I'm sorry, before I let you go, plans for any of the downtown holiday events. Is the parade canceled?
The parade has been canceled. There will be a tree lighting, I believe, on December 1st, and then there will also be a menorah lighting on December 3rd, I believe.
Hopefully next year we'll get back to normal, right?
Hopefully. Yeah, we're hoping. Or actually, let me take that back. That tree lighting is going to be December 6th. I apologize. And the tree lighting is December 3rd. So I got my date screwed up. Yes. So
that's okay.
Quick correction.
But you can find that information on your website as well.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you.
Sean, thank you so much for being with us here on the Oakland County Megacast. A safe and happy Thanksgiving to you and your family.
Happy Thanksgiving, Ronnie. Thank you.
We're going to take a quick break here on the Oakland County Megacast. When we come back, we will be speaking to the director of puppet art, still a very popular form for kids. We'll be right back on the Oakland County Megacast.
Michigan, we're calling on you to save lives. Don't ignore it. Don't let it go to voicemail. It's urgent. In fact, it's critical. Because if you've been in close contact with someone who tests positive for COVID-19, you may have been exposed to the virus. And you could get a call from My COVID Help or your local health department. So please answer the call to learn how to protect yourself, your family, and friends. We're calling on you to stop the spread of COVID-19, to make it safe to reopen businesses and help Michigan move forward. So if you get a call from My COVID Help or your local health department, you may have been exposed to someone with COVID-19. To protect us all, answer the call. Learn more at michigan.gov/containcovid. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jonae Khaldun. I'm the Chief Medical Executive for the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. The people who are at highest risk of getting severely ill from COVID-19 are the elderly and those with chronic medical conditions. That includes people with heart disease, diabetes, COPD, or those who have compromised immune systems. People who are in those categories should right now be staying at home as much as possible and not going out if it is not essential. If you fit into one of those categories, those are the things you should do. And if you have a family member who fits into one of those categories, you should be checking in on them and making sure they are following those guidelines. There's something everyone can do to protect the community from COVID-19.
Great to have you with us on the Oakland County Megacast. Just a reminder, you can catch us 89.3 WBLD Orchard Lake, 88.1 WBFH Bloomfield Hills. I'm a little late on our station ID as we were speaking with Sean from the city of Royal Oak. A great conversation with him. Check out our local businesses. Joining us now, though, on the Oakland County Megacast, Igor Gozman. He's the Executive Artistic Director for Puppet Art here in the city of Detroit. Thank you so much for being with us. We appreciate your time.
Good morning.
I love what you and your organization does, but what has this been like? How are you surviving this crisis?
Hanging on. Yeah. I just want to, from the beginning, a little correction. We are Puppet Theater in Southfield now. So going back, we began 20 years ago in downtown Detroit. That's where we spent first 19 years of our life, and as a puppet resident theater. And almost 3 years ago, we moved here in Southfield. So we now happy members of Southfield community.
Oh, that's great that you're now here in Oakland County. For those not familiar with your organization, fill us in.
Yeah, in short, Puppet Art was created 25 years ago. And the first couple of years, we were a touring company. And in 98, we found a place in downtown and established a puppet theater with a couple of very important principles. So one of the principles was it should be a resident theater where people can go and enjoy the art of puppetry with everything which connected, relevant to puppetry. We set such a way that we're performing every Saturday at afternoon at 2 o'clock. We began in September 98, and the last Saturday was in September 2017, I believe. We rarely missed any Saturday, so that was one most important point in terms of organization and operation, and that's what we want to bring back here in Southfield. So establish the place where we can have that regular performances. And those regular weekly performances dedicated to families, children, adults and children, adults only. But it's not only the venue for the theater. We also have a couple of performances, evening performances for adults, which we also intend to bring back. So That's what would be part of our theater. But another part of our theater is educational projects. We call it Journey with Puppets for Knowledge. That's when we performed our programs for school children, for classrooms. And they would come to us, and they would enjoy the show and do some other things. And those other things are they were taking place at our studio and museum. So those two parts of puppet art, in addition to theater, also cornerstones of our organization and our work. In our studio, we share what we know about puppetry already. We continue to learn that ancient art, and we develop a special program which helps teachers to use puppetry as an educational tool. And we all know that kids learn much better when they have fun playing. That's how it's happened. We all know that. So this is some of the aspects of our studio work. And everything else tied together, these two venues, theater and studio, with our programs in museum, where we have a collection of puppets. We have our own puppets. We have a couple of displays of puppets in our new place. And we take these little exhibitions to places. Recently, it was in Southfield Public Library. But displays and puppets, not only the programs in the museum, we also have a guest artists from many different places. We had all local puppeteers performed in our place in downtown. We will continue this program when we will have established our own place. And we had puppeteers from far away, from Indonesia, for example. So that's what museum does. Oh, and also we have right now in progress, we're working on the catalog of puppets dedicated to sharing what we have in our collection, talking about puppetry types and history of puppets. So those some programs in our museum. So puppet art is a organization, is a place where all these three venues, theater, studio, and museum, tied together in such a way that the program in the one part would be supported with the other. So if we have a show based on, let's say, Japanese folk tales tradition, we would have a museum of Japanese art in our exhibit in our museum of Japanese art, and we would have a puppet making workshop where we teach how to make basic principle of the puppet we used in the show. In that case, it is a marionette. So that's how it's all in every program set up, and that's what we want to bring now in the Southfield. Our goal is establish again place where people can come, watch the show, learn the puppetry, experience art puppetry around the world through our exhibits, and just have fun. But I think what I always like to tell about puppet art, that it is we see the theater as a place where communities can learn about each other. And that's why we establish our repertoire. We have right now about 10 shows. Actually, all the shows based on different traditions from different cultures, of which our communities created. So we have stories. First of all, we have stories from Russian and Jewish, because founders, we came from Russia, we're Jews, so that's what we began with, because we want to share, obviously. And then we had the show of production from Japan, Arab folklore, African American folklore, indigenous people, the legends and myths. So that's how we built our repertoire. And when we have this show on stage, when people come, that's the way how they would, in our hope, in our intention, would learn about each other. And of course, again, in the museum, we would have exhibits, little exhibits, to show different aspects of culture. And of course, puppetry is very unique. Everyone was born a puppeteer. The thing is with adults, that's why kids so easy connect with puppets. But what's happened as we grow, get mature adult, busy with a bunch of obviously very important things, we simply forgot how to read, how to understand, how to speak puppet. So, but as we were born, we were puppeteers. So we want to really bring back this ability of people to understand, speak and understand puppetry. That's what we try to do in all three venues through our art.
So Igor, what you're saying, you've stayed a kid at heart and embraced puppeteer, but I love how you're trying to use puppets to educate and bring the kids together. How are you doing virtual shows right now, or are they in person? How is that working?
Well, now it's a different situation. We were, it was our third year in Southfield, new location, and we were just about get over and feel ourselves settled down in Southfield. That's when March came and everything stopped. But it's temporarily, so we will get back. We do not have now the way to virtually connect to audience, but we now in the process of creating this new branch of what I call it Puppet Art TV, when we finally will have a series of programs, also ongoing programs, where we would basically do the same what we do now, but in a virtual space. It will be one way or another. Hopefully this situation, pandemic, will be over, but we still will have this virtual Puppet Art TV. That's what we just started. Hopefully we will have it.
Well, we've all had to shift how we operate and how we live during COVID-19 and this crisis. So maybe the good thing for you and your organization to come out of this, so many more people may be experiencing this. You had mentioned about your educational program. Can you talk a little bit about that? Are you working with schools, or is this just really trying to reach out to parents to let them know that this is available?
Everything. So first of all, it is this program, Journey with Puppets to Knowledge, developed about 15 years ago for bilingual children in Detroit School District. The base of the program is a process of creating puppet show. So kids would create puppet show from the beginning to presentation. The theme for this production would be the topic they learn at school in the classroom. So our belief is that that's what we think about the teaching. Every teacher is a performer, actor. But unlike other actors, they would have 5, 6, 7, 8 performances, hourly performances a day. So every class, it's mono show, sometimes interactive show with audience. So for us, it was not difficult to make this jump, connect the topic teacher would present for kids and convert it into the performance. Anything can be told as a very intriguing story, math or biology or social studies. So that's what we were doing during this project. So we're helping teacher and kids convert the topic to the script. And while they do that, obviously kids, without knowing, learn everything they need to know about this particular topic. They wouldn't even realize finally they know that. And then
but what a fun way to teach kids is through puppets. It's great that you and your team are doing so, reaching so many kids and also educating them at the same time.
Igor, teachers as well.
Yeah, and teachers as well. It's a great way to educate kids. Igor Gozman with us here on the Oakland County Megacast. He's the Executive Artistic Director for Puppet Art. We so appreciate your time here on this Wednesday. Thank you for being with us on the Oakland County Megacast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Reach out to them, find out more about their organization. What a fun way to try to teach the kids in today's day and age. We're going to take a quick break here on the Oakland County Megacast. Still a lot to get to in the last half hour, including talking about animal rescue, and then we'll round out the show with our good doctor, Dr. Taweel. This is the Oakland County Megacast.
This may seem uncomfortable, but so is being hooked to an IV, sleeping in a hospital bed, and fighting for your life. When it comes to COVID-19, comfort is not as important as saving lives. Wearing a mask can greatly reduce the chance of spreading the virus. So mask up, Michigan, every time you leave home.
Hi, my name is Kurt Lawson, and I'm the Public Information Officer for West Bloomfield Township. We wanted to reach out to you, our older adults, to provide information that you may find useful during this difficult time. We want to ensure you that West Bloomfield Town Hall, our Waters and Utility Department, West Bloomfield Parks, and our police and fire departments continue to work hard on your behalf. Information and resources can be found on the Township website, the police Facebook and Twitter, or call West Bloomfield Parks COVID-19 Help Hotline. Please remember to keep your social distance of at least 6 feet, wear facial coverings when you leave your home, and wash your hands for at least 20 seconds with soap. These precautions will help keep you safe during these difficult times.
As rivals, we don't always see eye to eye.
Like who scored the best recruits?
Who's gonna be who?
And whether we wear green or blue.
But one thing we can all agree on, to help stop the spread of COVID-19, wear a mask.
Wear a mask.
Wear a mask.
Wear a mask. Wear a mask.
The ball's in your court, Michigan.
Michigan, we still need to stay careful because we don't want to go backwards, back to where we started. So keep standing 6 feet apart, keep wearing a mask in public, and if you have symptoms, talk to a healthcare provider about getting tested. To move forward, let's all do our part. So stay careful. Michigan.gov/coronavirus.
Hi, I'm Dr. Faust, the Medical Director for the Oakland County Health Division. The most important thing you can do to prevent the spread of illness is to wash your hands thoroughly and often. Follow these 6 easy steps every time you wash your hands. Step 1, turn on the sink and wet your hands with warm water. Step 2, apply soap to your hands and lather between your fingers, under your nails, and the front and back of your hands and wrists. Step 3, wash your hands by scrubbing them together for at least 20 seconds. Step 4, rinse your hands with warm, clean water. And step 5, dry your hands with a clean cloth towel, a paper towel, or hot air blow dryer. If you're using a cloth towel, make sure to change it often. For handheld faucets, turn off the water using a paper towel instead of your bare hand. Step 6, if you're using a paper towel, throw it away. Practice healthy habits like washing your hands after coughing or sneezing into them to keep you and others healthy. Go to oakgov.com/health or call Nurse on Call at 1-800-848-5533 to learn more.
Great to have have you with us here on the Wednesday edition of the Oakland County Megacast. I'm Ronnie Dahl here in my home studios while Mr. Tyler Keith holds things down back at the studio there in West Bloomfield. Just as a reminder, you can catch Tyler and I on Civic Center TV, Birmingham area, municipal access, channel 15 if you have Comcast, 99 if you have AT&T. If you're out driving around, you can also tune us into the radio, 89.3 Lakes FM, 88.1 FM The Biff. And then today we are also live streaming today's edition of the Oakland County Megacast on my Facebook page, my journalist page, so you can catch us there as well, which basically means, Tyler, you can catch up with the Oakland County Megacast just about anywhere.
Yeah, anywhere on the internet. That's what makes it a megacast. It's on the internet in multiple spots. You can get our live stream on civiccentertv.com, our radio live stream, lakesfm.com, our Facebook live stream. We give you cable TV. We give you multiple radio stations. We're trying to get more, so we're everywhere. Multiple cable TV stations if you are watching on either Civic Center TV or Birmingham Area Municipal Access, or even on the West Bloomfield School District's channel WBTV.
And one of the great things about this show is that we are able to speak at length with so many people here in our community and all of the efforts that they are putting into trying to survive this pandemic. So from our elected leaders to business owners and also nonprofits. And joining us now on the Oakland County Megacast, if we can go ahead and bring in Courtney Sanders. She's with Paws for Life Animal Rescue in the city of Troy. Courtney, thanks for being with us.
Thank you so much.
Okay, my favorite subject, animals. And I know in the beginning of the crisis, the good thing that came out of it, so many animal shelters, people were adopting pets. We're 8 months into this, though. Is that still the case?
Yeah, I think it is. People are still using any extra time they have to give back when they can. The struggle has become fundraising. It's very hard to raise money when you're a charity, and you can't have that face-to-face contact. So that has become kind of our second struggle in this crisis.
So there are so many animal rescue groups throughout Southeast Michigan. Tell us a little bit about your organization.
Sure. So we started in 2007, and we were founded with a very specific purpose. We wanted to help shelters. We saw that a lot of our local animal shelters were struggling to find space for perfectly healthy, adopted, well-behaved animals. There was truly nothing wrong with them. They just didn't have the time and space in their shelters. So we came along and said, let us partner with you. We will take those dogs and cats that have just run out of time and space. We'll save their life, and then we'll save the life of the animal that's going to come in and fill the empty space that we just left. So we are considered a shelter partner. That's pretty much our sole source of intake for animals, is helping our shelters alleviate their overcrowding so that they can save more.
I love that you're doing that. We have a rescue dog that was about to be put down. And a last minute rescue came in to save her. I will say she's a bit of a handful, but yeah, Trixie she is definitely made herself a part of our family as we continue to work on the training issue with Trixie. But knowing that, what do you want people to know? What's so hard is, like someone like me, your heart goes out to animals, and you're on these groups on social media and you see the need for fosters or donations. How do you pick and choose? And it must be overwhelming for someone such as yourself. Are there animals, like how many do you have? If I was doing what you were doing, I'd have 20.
Right. Well, it's important to know your limits, because the animals need from us as much as we need from them. And if I'm overextended, then I can't properly give to each of my animals the things that they need to be happy. So you do have to learn what your limits are. I would say from the public's point of view, there is something you can do. Even if you are the overworked, pulling your hair out, trying to homeschool, there's still something you can do. It could be as small as sharing a story on social media or becoming a sponsor for an animal. And really all that means is maybe there's that particular animal that tugged your heartstrings. Let's call her Molly from Shelter X. Be her ambassador. Post her everywhere. Tell your friends about her. You don't even need to let the shelter know you're doing it. Make flyers. Tell your coworkers, your churchgoers, your neighbors. Just become her voice. And then when she gets adopted and finds her happy home, pick another one. If everybody could do something as simple as that, we would have empty shelters. Then beyond that, if you do have extra time on a Saturday, go give an hour or two to your local shelter walking dogs or reading to them. That's a great way for kids to get involved. They can sit there and read to the cats in the cage. They can read to the dogs. So just don't feel despair like, oh, I'm so busy, there's nothing I can do. There's always something you can do. And if you don't have any ideas, we're happy to help you find some ideas.
Courtney Protz-Sanders with us. She is the founder of Paws for Life Animal Rescue, joining us on the Oakland County Megacast. And you talk about how people can get involved, and there's a number of different ways between adopting some of these animals, fostering some of these animals, volunteering for the shelter. Can you talk a little bit about the role of volunteers in Paws for Life and how that volunteerism helps not only these animals find their forever homes and get to safety and live full and happy lives, but also how that volunteerism helps the families and the people that do adopt these animals provide those happy lives and homes for these pets.
Sure. Well, first of all, volunteering with Paws for Life, that's all we are. We don't have any paid staff. All of us are volunteers, and we give what time we can. So you could foster an animal, bring in a kitten or a litter of kittens, and take care of them until they're old enough to be adopted. You could make phone calls. A lot of rescue groups such as ours need help with thanking donors, making that personal phone call to say thank you, and maybe tell them a story about how their funding helped a specific animal in need. We need transporters, people to just pick up a dog from point A and take it to the vet or drop it off at point B. Donations, that's a really huge one. As I was talking with Ronnie, we are struggling. I think all of the charities are, but animal rescues in particular, we really rely on that face-to-face contact, being out in the community, holding adoption events, having fundraising events. And with the pandemic, we just haven't been able to do that. So we're getting creative, and Paws for Life will launch our very first virtual auction on Friday. We've never done one before. It's always been in person, so this is a new endeavor for us, but it's going to be a huge chunk of our funding for 2021 and will help us determine how many animals we can rescue next year. I do think that volunteering is a really important message for our kids. I think if we could teach all children respect for all living things right from the get-go, I think we can eliminate a lot of the problems that we see later on in life with pets, with farm animals, with wildlife. So getting them involved with volunteering early helps instill that message that it's not just all about us and that giving back feels good. You're not only helping others, but you're making yourself feel good too. You did a good thing. So we're happy to provide that opportunity.
Courtney Protz-Sanders with us from Paws for Life Animal Rescue, joining us today on the Oakland County Megacast. And Courtney, your volunteers do excellent work. Last year, in full disclosure, I did adopt my two kittens, Jax and Idol, who were at the time named Lock and Shock, appropriately for the season, from Paws for Life. If you're watching on our TV feed, I am putting up a picture of the two of them. Some on the picture on our far right, and the one in the middle are most recent, and the ones on the left were the day. Just a couple days after they were adopted, and Alex did an excellent job out in the Farmington Hills location to help me get ready for that adoption and to answer a lot of questions. Your volunteers do absolutely amazing work. So for those that are volunteering as a foster, or for those that are adopting pets, what's some advice that your organization gives to them as they are entering that process, as they're beginning that process? Because there is a learning curve with that, to be a good pet parent, so that they can be best prepared for themselves, but also most importantly in that situation for the animals that are coming into their home.
Okay. Well, full disclosure, I did not know that you had adopted 2 kittens from us. So thank you and congratulations. That's great. And I will pass along the compliments to Alex. She's one of our very, very reliable volunteers on the cat team. So for new adopters, I think first and foremost, everybody who wants a pet deserves a pet, but it might just be about matching you with the right pet. So the first thing we want to look at is this the right time? Because I'll be honest, it can be a little stressful getting used to this new animal in your home and what its expectations are of you, and vice versa. So first of all, is this a good time? If you're in the middle of perhaps selling a house, going through a divorce, and you've had a death in the family, we're going to caution you that now might not be the right time. Let things calm down and then come back and talk to us. But assuming that now is a good time, and given that a lot of us have a little more home time than we're used to, first we want to know, what are you looking for in a pet? Do you want a pet that's just going to cuddle all day long on your lap? Or are you looking for a really energetic pet? I want somebody who's ready to go jogging at a moment's notice, camping on the weekends, very active. So our first goal is, what are you looking for? And then we will recommend which animals we think best match what you're looking for and what your household consists of. Do you already have pets? Do you have young children? Things like that. And if you're bringing home a little one, a puppy or a kitten, we're going to tell you need to proof your house, a lot like baby proofing. They put everything in their mouths too. So you're going to want to pick up rubber bands and ribbons or any type of tacks or paper clips, or just really give the house a good once over to make sure everything looks safe. And then we want to start off with a small space. A really big house can be incredibly overwhelming to a new cat. So we're going to tell you, let's start small. Their worlds are pretty small, so it's less intimidating if we can give them one spare room. Let them adjust there and get used to this new place, new sounds, new smells, new people, and then open up their world slowly so it's just not so crazy. So we give everybody a lot of tips and hopefully a lot of help on how to best adjust to having a new pet in your home.
Courtney, it's so great what you guys are doing, because so many pets need so much help. I will say, I'm like looking, who is the dog with you? Who's your fur baby right there?
This is Baku. He's my foster dog. He's also my shadow. Everywhere I am in the house, there is the Baku. And he's a little sleepy this morning. So although he promised to help do this interview, he has fallen asleep on the job.
That is so cute. We're foster fails. Our dog started out as a foster as well. But quickly, just another minute or so with you before we let you go. How can people find more information about your organization or about the auction coming up as well?
Sure. Website is usually the quickest, easiest way to learn about us. We are paws4liferescue.org, and it's all spelled out, no numbers or anything, no symbols. And then our Facebook page is really, really active, and we have our auction event posted there now, and we're teasing everybody, posting all of these great getaways and trips and different packages that'll be up on the auction on Friday. And then the link will go live Friday at noon. And everyone can just start bidding, and they have until December 4th at 7 p.m. to lock in their bids and see what they win.
Oh, my goodness. Thank you so much for everything that you and your staff and the volunteers are doing to try to rescue these animals. I always say rescue animals are the best animals.
They are. I think they truly know that you saved their life.
They do indeed. So again, we'd love to have you back on after the event. You can fill us in, but also anything else you guys have going on in the future, please let us know and join us again on the Oakland County Megacast.
That would be great. Thank you so much. Everybody have a great holiday.
You too, and happy Thanksgiving to you and your team. We're going to take a quick break here on the Oakland County Megacast, just about 15 minutes left in the show. And when we come back, we'll be speaking with our good doc, Dr. Taweel, as we head into the Thanksgiving holiday. This is the Oakland County Megacast.
Michigan, the coronavirus pandemic has put us all to the test. And now it's time to put COVID-19 to the test. As we move forward, testing will be critical. We encourage anyone who has reason to get tested to do so, those with symptoms and those without. If you are leaving home and going back to work, get tested. If you think you may have COVID-19 or you've been exposed recently through family, friends, or coworkers, get tested. Our test locator tool can help you find the right testing site that fits your needs. Even if you're looking for easy access with no cost, no prescription, and no appointment necessary, we've got you covered. Help Michigan move forward, not backward. To find a testing site or learn more, visit michigan.gov/coronavirus test. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. Michigan, we still need to stay careful because we don't want to go backwards, back to where we started. So keep standing 6 feet apart, keep wearing a mask in public, and if you have symptoms, talk to a healthcare provider about getting tested. To move forward, let's all do our part. So stay careful. Michigan.gov/coronavirus.
I say it every day. Where does the time go?
No
These
clue.
2 hours fly by like that. Hey, thank you everyone for being with us on the Oakland County Megacast. Just 15 minutes left in the Wednesday edition of the Oakland County Megacast. Dr. Jamie Taweel, our good doctor, joining us here before we leave for a couple days. Great to have you with us here on the Oakland County Megacast.
As always, thank you so much for having me on. How are you guys doing?
You know, we're good. Doc, I'm trying to convince Tyler he needs to wear the turkey outfit and do a run with me tomorrow morning.
We definitely needs to wear the turkey outfit and do the run. Are you kidding me? Tyler, what's going on?
Gobble,
I
gobble.
have extras.
You can join us too, Doctor. You go ahead.
No, thank you. I can't. I got too much.
That's what they all say.
When you're doing the run, though, guys, try and wear the mask if you can. I know it's gonna slow the breathing a bit, but you know it'll be worth it. Trust me.
Well, the turkey trot is actually been canceled. I do it every year. It's tradition. It's been canceled. It's virtual this year. So I am actually going to be running on my own through the streets of Kegel Harbor and Sylvan Lake. So if you see me.
Are you going to wear the turkey outfit?
Absolutely.
Excellent. I love it.
Right?
Good for you. Definitely recommend it.
I have 3. So if you want to join me.
I'll see if I can get myself up that early.
But with that, can we talk a little bit about the holidays? Of course, what can you say that hasn't been said already? But I will say one question someone asked me, and I was like, I've been forgetting to ask people is, so people that we're being told not to join our family members tomorrow unless you're out, unless you're in the same household. But what if you have family members where everyone has already had COVID-19 within the past month? Is it okay for those people to now join together?
Oh, wow. That's a tough one. So let me make sure I got this correct. There's 2 households, everybody's had COVID. And the question is, can they get together? Well, yeah. Let me answer that by saying there has been, we can't definitively prove that if you've had COVID before that you can't get it again. Infection doesn't necessarily mean immunity. And I don't think the long-term studies have proven that yet. So I would still exercise caution. And I know that's frustrating because, that's almost like a small satellite of herd immunity. Everybody's had it, so hopefully. But it's a tough answer to give. I hate to say it, because the problem is you're trying to speculate on facts that we don't have the full data on. So that's like telling me, asking me how a book would end, and I'm only on page 5. It makes it a little bit difficult. I think there's some arguments to say that that's something that you could do, but I would always just err on the side of caution, specifically this first year. I always say, listen, you're gonna blow this holiday out, but unfortunately, it's gonna suck for this holiday. But you miss this one, so you can make the next 10. It's one of those scenarios.
But I think that's one of the hard things about this entire pandemic and this virus. We know, we're just regular people. you all are doctors and you have a medical background and you're so much smarter than the rest of the public. But when we're hearing so much information and it changes so often, it makes it hard for people to buy in to some of these recommendations.
Oh, yeah. It's been rough. I mean, people have been getting, you're getting all this information. And this is the problem when you're dealing with something as it's evolving. You know what I mean? I think I used this example before, but it's almost like we're working on a car while we're driving it down the freeway. We're not necessarily, able to see this from the point of it's past and we're now we've learned our lessons and we're moving forward how to do things from that point on. We're actually in the middle of it and we're trying to figure it out. And when that happens, you get new data that happens every day. And in this information age where the internet can spread data like mad, you start to hear things and you start to hear other things, and then it becomes conflicting. Now we're in the middle of a governmental transition of two different governments, essentially. So things are going to change in that regard. And all of this is going to sow confusion. So it becomes very difficult. And I think the best way to get past all that, pardon me for adjusting, the best way to get past all that is to find one source that basically is a good way a good aggregate that funnels all of it down, and then to just stick with that source and try not to hear anything else. And I think the CDC and their recommendations are always good ones to follow.
Yeah, and just to let people know, of course, at civiccentertv.com, you click on coronavirus. We have direct links to the CDC as well as the state of Michigan, Oakland County, because I'm with you. I try to follow those executive orders and look to see what their recommendations are, because it can get confusing in this world out here. Dr. Jamie Taweel with us here on the Oakland County Megacast. He is the internal medicine specialist at the Grand River Medical Associates and really kind of our resident doc here on the Oakland County Megacast. Good news, we are hearing a lot about the vaccines and the possibility the first round could be coming out in the beginning of December. What are you hearing and what are you telling your patients?
So patients are asking me, the number one question I get asked is, would you get a vaccine? As a healthcare provider, if the data shows that it looks good, absolutely, I'm going to get one. And I feel like all the people should. I'm always going to recommend vaccines. I am pro-vaccine. I don't have the data specifically. All I have is right now what the company says their data suggests without having to look at the data. So I think it's a little bit too soon for me to make a comment as to whether or not this is going to be a successful vaccine trial, and et cetera, et cetera. They're applying for emergency FDA approval. And I know a lot of people are a little bit kind of hesitant to get a vaccine based on that. I can assure you that once I review the data, I will make my recommendations based on what it shows. Now, it is promising. We're going to get a vaccine hopefully in December. And I think right now the issue isn't the problem of getting the vaccine out. It's more of a problem of distributing the vaccine. Remember a couple of things. This vaccine needs to be stored in very cold temperatures, which may not make it very easy to transport from facility to facility, as well as storage issues. And let's not forget, this vaccine is actually administered in 2 doses. The 2 top vaccines that are out right now, Pfizer and Moderna, those 2 are in 2 separate doses, 28 days apart. So when you get the vaccine, you have to wait a month before you get the second dose of the vaccine. So you're not immune on day 1. You're immune much beyond that. So even the earliest person to get it is still 28 days behind being fully immune. So bear that in mind. And, this is going to be a long, slow haul, but I think it'll be worth it in the end.
Yeah. And I also wonder how many people are actually going to go back for that second round.
Yeah, that happens too. It's kind of like, the hepatitis series, you get the 3 shots and you have to wait a while before then. You can come earlier, but you can't come earlier, but you can come a little bit later. How this is all going to shake out, it's going to be tough to figure out. So
yeah. And from that standpoint, I remember when I went to Africa, we had to have a round, different series of shots to go. And like you said, it was in different phases. But now I'm thinking, what is this going to be like for people on the front line, such as yourself, where, you have all these patients now that are going to have to come in not once, but twice. And you can't do a telehealth with a vaccine shot. So
I think that they're going to start administering it through, like minute clinics, pharmacies, offices. Like people in my office that want to get flu shots, they don't have to make an appointment to see me. They come and get the shot, they leave. They just have to get it scheduled so that we can allocate the resources, et cetera. But, it'll be easy to distribute once we figure out how to get it here. Once once offices and pharmacies are stored with vaccines, relatively easy to administer, and it shouldn't be an issue.
So we are in the middle of the second surge. They've been warning us there's going to be a second surge. It is here. Hospitalizations are up, cases are up. Yeah. What are you seeing from your standpoint in your office? Are you having a lot of patients right now? And backlog with testing, how is that going?
It's going bananas. It's the only word I can use. Bananas. So here's the thing, and I kind of was mulling about this the other day. When COVID first hit and we were all on lockdown, and I first started doing these interviews with the big beard and all the craziness that we were dealing with, I did not know a lot of personal people that had it, nor did a lot of the people that I talked to. We heard cases, everyone had someone here and there, but it wasn't really close to home. And I think now that COVID fatigue kind of kicked in, the state opened back up, I can tell you, I can think of 10 people that I personally know that have it that aren't patients. Like, it just blew through my bubble of life. You know what I mean? And I think that after Thanksgiving, with all the people gathering, and I think people are just going to do what they do. You can't, human nature, unfortunately, continues to rule. And I think that people will continue to spread this. And I'm worried about a little bit of a bump after the holiday. I am seeing a lot more cases in my area. And remember, the majority of the cases that I see are outpatient. So there are a lot of people that just, I felt miserable for a period of time and I got better. Lost my sense of taste and smell. I felt, tons of aches, headaches, et cetera, and then it got better. It's the people that get to the point where they can't breathe. I have a few patients that are in the hospital right now. It's unfortunate, but, I think it'll just be a matter of time that hopefully this can start to smooth out. But I am seeing I'm diagnosing a lot of positives these days.
How is it on the testing side of things?
The testing side of things, there's rapid testing, which I do not offer, but rapid testing is available. It's not the most accurate, but it is a good guide to be able to see if you have something. And then there's the PCR, where they go right into the back of your skull with the swab, which also is, like the rapid testing, but we actually send it out to the lab. Usually turnaround time anywhere between 1 to 3 days, but right now the bump, it's kind of going out a little bit. And it's kind of bottlenecking again, which I had the luxury of not having that previous to this last couple of weeks.
Right. So I guess some of the medical professionals are telling people, if you don't need to get the test, don't get it. If you're just doing it because you want to see, or this, that, and the other.
So I'm getting a lot of that. I'm getting a lot of, I just want to know if I have it,
Yeah.
And a car full of people. I want my whole family tested. Well, you guys all live in close quarters. Just test the one most likely to have it, not do the whole car, But I understand it's a scary time, and people really just want to know if they have this terrible thing that they're hearing so much about. And that makes sense. If you have a known exposure, self-isolate, assume you have it. I usually try to tell people, look, unless you need it for work or travel, or known exposure, I would try and just do your best to not have, not try and get tested if you can avoid it. It's the, best options to try and limit it if you don't need it. However, again, human nature tends to reign supreme these days. So.
Yeah, quickly, just another minute or so left with you. Probably the most important question of the day. Oh. Do you have a prescription to help all of the Lions fans with what is sure to be another disappointing day on Thanksgiving?
That is oh man. A Jack Daniels, I think, is going to be the prescription of the day. Don't drive, but oh man, Lions, man, they get you every time. I feel like they tend to hurt me every time.
So even as a doctor, you can't cure what ails all of the Lions fans here in Detroit.
Oh, man, it's just a fitting end to 2020. I'll tell you that much.
Well, let's hope 2021 gets much better, not only as a vaccine for COVID, but a vaccine for the losing Lions.
Please. Yes, but I'm very optimistic for 2021, and I'm I want people to try and enjoy their holidays the best that they can, but please just do it safely. That's all I ask.
Exactly. Well, Dr. Taweel, always great having you with us here on the Oakland County Megacast, and a happy and a safe Thanksgiving to you and your family as well.
Absolutely. Same to you. Thank you so much, guys. Take care, Tyler.
You as well.
So, Tyler, I think, one of the things that could help cure you or Larry, either one of you, I have 2 turkey outfits.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Thanksgiving, take a little pain out of the day. Go out and have some fun.
I don't know about taking pain away in that case.
Well, to everyone out there, we wish you a happy and safe Thanksgiving. We'll be back next Monday for the next edition of the Oakland County Megacast.